I'd like to call to order the Monday, December 16th meeting of the City of Monona City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Court? Here. Alder Thomas?
Here.
Alder Groupie?
Here.
Alder Moore?
Here.
Alder Kitzler?
Here.
Alder Wood?
Here.
Mayor O'Connor?
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December 2nd meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. There are no appearances. There is no public hearing tonight. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move approval. I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to unfinished business, item 1A, consideration of resolution 19-12-2386, authorizing public work and levying special assessments against benefited properties regarding street improvements to McKenna Road, put forth by the Public Works Committee. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move approval. Second.
Dan?
Thank you, Mayor. This is on the agenda tonight for the second reading. The only updates I have from the first reading is that on December 4th, our Public Works Committee did recommend approval of the final resolution. And in the meantime, we have not heard from any other residents on the assessments. So,
Alder Thomas, did you have a question? Any questions? Alder Kitzler?
I know no one spoke at our public hearing. You received no other feedback from residents on that street aside from that, correct?
not on the assessments, no.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dan. Item 1B, consideration of ordinance 12-19-724, updating the fees, fines, and penalties schedule. Is there a motion put forth by the city administrator? Is there a motion to approve this?
Move approval.
Second.
There's no changes. There's no changes from our discussion at the last council meeting. Again, this is the annual resolution that we adopt at the conclusion of every year for the forthcoming year. As I mentioned at the last meeting, there'll be a second subsequent resolution that will come at a later date relating to the public records fees.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Item 1C, consideration of resolution 19-12-2388, adopting a tree donation policy. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Just one item to point out to you in your packet on page 34. I did make, so after the council did the first reading on this item 2 weeks ago, I did receive some feedback from a citizen about the policy. They strongly suggested that we consider requiring only native species to be purchased with dollars coming out of this fund. I concurred with that recommendation, so I amended this policy in a couple places to add language regarding native species. So, we'll consult with the nursery when we go out to buy the plants, but we'll make sure that they're native to Wisconsin when we purchase them.
Anyone else? Alder Groupie?
We had a discussion about tax deductible with, how did you phrase it? Alder Moore? In
to the extent allowed by law.
To the extent allowed by law, and I don't believe that language is included in the most recent version of the,
You're correct. That was in my notes from the previous one. I'll make sure that's in the final policy.
that's the only comment I have.
Anyone else? Alder Corr?
I'm just wondering if we could kind of speed through what this policy is for our audience tonight. They may be particularly interested in this, and
Yes.
since we're running along at quite a big clip, I thought maybe it'd be interesting.
Happy to. So what this policy that the council is talking about tonight is setting up a separate account where people in the community can donate money for the purchase of a tree. It could be either a coniferous tree or deciduous tree in memory or in honor of somebody else, and then work with city staff on if that tree could be planted in a city park or along what's called city right-of-way, which is kind of the sidewalk area next to a street. So right now we don't have a policy that allows us to accept those donations. So we're adopting this policy to kind of set up the procedure So we can do that and take donations, provide people with a tax benefit when they do it, and help kind of add more trees and plantings to our community to increase its beauty.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Alder Moore.
Yeah, at the last council meeting, we talked about adding or expanding it to include not just the right-of-way in the parks, with the intention that it could be some other private property, and that doesn't appear to have been reflected in this new draft.
Do we need to have a motion to amend the resolution, or do we want to bring this back in January?
I mean, it's a policy, it's not, I mean, the resolution is adopting the policy, but the policy itself is not a resolution, if that makes sense.
I guess,
So
do we need a motion, though, to amend the policy? Or?
as stated tonight would be sufficient.
Okay. So, before we approve it, then we should have another motion and approve that first, or, because we've already made a motion to approve it.
Yep.
So I'll move to amend, to adopt, to incorporate the changes that we've discussed regarding tax deductibility and putting trees on other public properties.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we're back to the original motion to approve the policy as amended. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, thank you. Let's see. Now moving on to new business. Item 2A, consideration of Resolution 19-12-2387, authorization to proceed with a water rate increase put forth by the Public Works Committee at Finance and Personnel, where this was also discussed this evening. Mark did say that this did not need to be started for immediate action, and we did have some questions there, so it might be better to just take it at its usual order.
Sure.
That's okay. So, Mark, do you want to?
Yeah, so what this is an authorization to apply to the PSC for a water rate increase. And in that, there's three things that would happen. You get an actual increase to the water rate. You're also looking at changing two changes from change the measurement from cubic units to gallons, and change from quarterly billing to monthly billing. The last two are more for customer service. Is one of the things we hear a lot of times when it comes to related to utilities, is they like to see monthly billing more for like budgeting purposes. The quarterly billing is a lot of people. It's hard to budget for. You know, you get a bill every 3 months, and it ends up being a larger bill. It's just easier to do your bills monthly. And the other one is cubic units. Really, not a lot of people understand what cubic units is. If you want to convert that to gallons, it's a whole formula, and a lot of people are able to visualize gallons more than what cubic units. So that's a recommendation, two recommendations besides the water increase that came out of the Public Works Committee. So what this would do is I would authorize me to start working on a water rate increase. So what that entitles is you pull all the financial information, you pull a lot of infrastructure information, a lot of meter information. It's probably like a 40-page report that has to be done. It's a standard report we get from the application from the PSC. We fill all the information. I work with Dan to get his stuff and the financial stuff. And then what we end up doing, we turn that information into the PSC. The PSC reviews it. They have their own cost analysis people. And they come back and they tell us what they believe the rate should be. At that time, I would get that information, bring it to the Public Works Committee and to the council, and we review what they would say. At the same time, once we kind of go with that, will be a public hearing too, for the public to weigh in on the rate increase. There was one issue that we're kind of having to explain to in the Finance Committee, is the PS, as we approved in the 2020 capital budget for a water meter upgrade system, there is a little bit of concern that we might not get approved for that with the PSC. The one concern is we did our last upgrade. The last time we actually borrowed for it was in 2014. I think it started in 2009 was when we first started it. And the PSC likes to see the assets completely depreciated. They believe the assets are probably 15 years old. They like to see that before they kind of believe that you're not paying on two systems. So Dan's been working with the PSC on that. So there's a possibility that they're going to say that nope, we can't do the water meter upgrade at this time. If that happens, it's going to change the whole analysis on the water increase. It's going to change our borrowing too. So there is going to be a little bit of lag till we kind of figure out what's exactly going on, if they approve us or not approve us for that water meter upgrade. So I know it'll be kind of running concurrent with them. So we hope we'll have an answer before we'd have a rate increase answer. So.
Questions? Alder
Just
Thomas?
Following on Jennifer, can you explain to our guests why we have to go to the PSC?
Oh, and I probably should have said that in the first. There is requirements when you borrow money and you have a lot of infrastructure, you have to cover that cost. We don't put that on the taxpayers' bills and on the property tax bills. They pay through a rate structure, so they basically take all their financial information, you take your revenues and expenses, you want to make sure you're able to cover all those through the rates. And the one issue why we have to go out this is because we're going to be borrowing up to $2 million between 2020 and 2019. We'll borrow about $2 million, and there's a requirement we have to make enough income to cover 1.25 of your annual debt service payments. Currently, we are covering that, but with the new borrowing, if we do all this new borrowing, we will not make that, so we have to increase our revenues to cover our debt requirements. Otherwise, we would not be in compliance with our debt requirements, and then we run into a lot of issues there.
And if I can tack on and correct me if I say something wrong here, but our water utility is a monopoly, and we have no competition.
Correct.
So in order to make sure that the rates, now Monona would never do anything not fair, but a community that wasn't as good as we are could do something not fair and raise the rates and try and gouge people out of their taxes because there's no competition, so you could do whatever you want to. But the law says you have to get approval of the state agency because you don't have competition, and they approve what you're asking for is reasonable.
Correct, exactly.
Alder Moore?
I guess I'm appreciative of the monthly billing, but I don't know, and I'm not a good indicator because I live in such a small residence, but, and I try to be conscious with my water, but can you tell, do we have a sense of how much extra it's going to be costing us to be billing, both, not just, and I'm not just talking about postage, I mean, there's a lot of processing that goes on, so if you're taking in monthly checks and billing monthly as opposed to quarterly, do you know what kind of an increase in overhead we'd be incurring?
Sure. Probably the biggest thing will be the postage. Otherwise, the in-house stuff is just part of, our utilities billing clerk's routine job. And what we do bill every month, but we have 3 separate quarters we bill for, so she is billing every month right now. If we get the new system, what happen if we be able to do from your computer? Right now, we have people that go out and they drive around the city and they get the reads. With the new system, would be easier. She can just do it from her office, so there would be time savings there. One issue that we could save time is right now we have a disconnection issue. We have, with quarterly billings, people's bills build up, especially if you have a leak or you're using more water than you're expecting. A lot of times we put in payment plans, and that actually takes up a lot of time. We're hoping with monthly billing that would actually help that because people can budget for that better and they can see their usage faster. So we think that would save some bit of time. So there is going to be a little bit more extra time with Michelle's work. But it's not going to be, she's really fast as far as I think internally we'll be fine doing that. But the postage will be an extra postage That's probably a couple $1,000s, probably $3,000 to $5,000 extra, depends on that. What we want to do when we get monthly billing is really campaign a little bit harder on our usage of online, especially with monthly billing, that you can pay online. I know right now we have an issue. People don't use it as much because there is a charge to use it. And something that we've talked internally is maybe do we get rid of that, especially for checks. That maybe people will use that more, and that way we don't send bills out, it just automatically sends to them, so that'd be a savings there too. So you're right, there will be some extra time, but postage would be the biggest thing.
But if our new meters aren't approved or
Yeah.
are delayed in approval, then there would be considerably more time in terms of actually having to going to read meters,
The readings would
correct?
probably be an extra, I think Dan said probably an extra day would be what that would end up being.
Extra day per month, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
per, yeah.
Alder Groupie?
I think, did you?
Go ahead.
So you kind of alluded to this, but you, in talking about maybe amping up the online system to pay bills in that way, you said there also may be a totally paperless option to have residents receive bills online or via email as well?
We currently do. We do have probably about 400 people that do actually get their bills online.
Great.
The biggest problem we have with people not using it very much is, I think, our fee. We don't charge for people that have an online account. It's just you pay by credit card or use your checking account. There is a fee for both of those, and we've heard from a lot of residents that if you waive the fee, we'd probably use it more. So that's, but they usually send it in. But a lot of people have online accounts. We have probably 400, like I said, 400 overall that actually do that.
Can you elaborate on how people can sign up for the paperless option currently?
Yeah, it's online. If you go onto our website, there is under utilities, you can log into there and just use your account number and you can sign up from there.
Okay,
I guess this is the first I've heard that.
Yeah.
So you're saying you can get your bill online?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and could you still pay it via check then if you wanted to, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There is, so it gets updated. The one problem we have with the system yet, it doesn't actually, so if you paid on, say, the 5th, we don't update the system to all the online stuff until we do our next billing. And that's one glitch we have with the system. So if you paid it on the 5th, we can't really, the way the new software we have doesn't really show it's paid until we do the next billing, and it automatically updates all the online stuff. So that is one fault of the system right now.
So then people sometimes get a late fee?
They won't get a late fee, they just won't look, they go online, they want to say,
They won't look
your
like-
credit card, if you pay your credit, you'll know
Okay.
in a couple of days it's paid. You won't know until our system. That's the one fault to it.
Okay.
Are people
Well,
notified about this when they pay by other means than credit card? Is there something on the system that currently says that this won't be processed until the following cycle?
There is some type of wording on it.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Alder Kitzler?
So I asked this at Finance and Personnel. So I think the title of this resolution is a little misleading because we're actually just authorizing to proceed for an application
Correct.
of a water rate increase. So we're not actually voting on an increase here. And then you made a comment, and I wanted to make sure either I heard it correctly or for you to correct me. So if PSC says, yes, you can increase your rates, and they say, whatever, I'm making up a number, 1.5% increase, can the council at that point say, we don't want it? Well, say they say 6% increase, and can we as a council say we don't want an increase at that point?
We could. We had a situation probably, I don't know when it was, six years ago. It was kind of a higher one. We talked about splitting it over 2 years or not doing as much. So they give you options. But their rate analysis is pretty good to what you should be paying. But they do give you, you could implement over 2 years. You could, maybe not do it as much. There has been those options.
And I guess why I bring that up too is, I know you have it starred and you said we can wait. And I don't know how meaty our next meeting is, but this is kind of just a procedural resolution.
This is just
for
to
you
start working.
apply.
Yeah. Apply,
And
get the basically
But-
apply, and they give us all the information. Like I said, about 40 pages. It's online, and then me and Dan will start gathering the information, we gotta figure out all the infrastructure, all the number of meters, number of manholes, that all stuff that goes into that information, and how much we paid for it, depreciation, and all that stuff.
Alderwood?
Just to clarify, I think your response to Alder Kitzlar, I mean, once the PSC issues the order, we'd have to, if we don't like if we think it should be 5 instead of 10%, we would have to petition them to lower it. They have the final say.
And we can't arbitrarily.
We can't just say,
Before they issue the
never
order,
mind.
so it'd be, like, they'd give me the information, what they're saying, and we could work with them before they issue the order, is what I guess I should clarify. That's what we did last time. We had they tell us, okay, we want your rate to be, like I said, 2%.
Yeah.
Comes back, or before we even do the public hearing, and we kind of work with them, and then they would say, say, okay, we're okay with that, and then we'll do the order.
So, okay, follow-up question. When was the last time we did a rate increase?
I believe it was 3 years ago. I can get that number.
Alder Thomas?
Or 4 years ago.
If we bill monthly, then we'll get the cash in
Correct.
sooner. Will there be some interest offset on that, which will cover part of the
There will be definitely
postage?
an increase in interest, yes.
Alder Moore?
So I just want to confirm, because this is certainly news to me, I didn't know we had paperless billing, and it sounds like there are a few others that didn't know it either. So if people go to mymonona.com, to utilities,
I believe so.
they'll see it there, or if
Yeah.
they type in paperless billing, or how do they get to that option?
Yeah, I don't
Alder
know.
Cor?
Go and ask.
I pulled it up while we were sitting here.
Yeah.
If you go to the webpage, scroll to the bottom, it says online payments.
Okay.
You'll get a page that comes up and it says water utilities, select that, and then there's instructions on how to set it up. Currently, there's a $1 convenience fee for checking and a 2.75% fee for credit card payments, plus an additional 50 cents for payments of below $100. So.
So that's something if you want to think about changing, I would probably add more customers.
There's information there about how to set up to get your bill as well online.
Once you set up an account, there's.
Then it's just automatic.
Yeah, there's some questions they would ask you.
Yeah.
Alder Kitzler?
Not to get in a tangent on this, but I mean, if we go to this online system, I think we need to get rid of the fees. Otherwise, there's just no incentive to have the online system. I mean, that's why I walk into City Hall and pay it by check, is not to pay 2.75%.
Sure.
I know it's a little amount comparatively, but I just don't think, if we make this effort, we need to also make that effort.
Sure, we can do it. It's something I probably talked to.
We'll have to think about, though, that, because that would be payments every single month from every resident in Monona.
Is
If we're
that,
going to cover the fee, or if we're going to build it into the bill, or,
I do know a lot of communities, what
How
they
we're
end up
gonna do
doing
it.
is the checking account they do for free, and then they charge for the credit card. That's pretty typical for a lot of communities that I've talked to.
But if we're saving postage,
yeah.
depending upon how much postage is, if it's 12 times 50, I mean, and the $1.75, the fee would be monthly, not quarterly.
Right.
So it would be,
12 times $1.75.
which is more than we collect now.
Mm.
So I think we need to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at best reduce it and potentially eliminate it.
Anyone else? Okay, well, we will have this back on the
Sure.
agenda in January
Thank you.
then. Thank you, Mark. Okay, moving on to reports of committees, commissions, boards, et cetera. Alder Wood.
License review and Parks Board didn't meet, so no report there. The MPO did meet and approved the Beltline dynamic lane, basically the hard shoulder driving project, and I think that'll be implemented in 2021.
Alder Kitzler.
We had an amazing ribbon cutting for the ice rink, and I would encourage anybody and everybody to go there and rent some skates and skate around. Certainly commending some public works, but also Parks and Rec staff that pulled a few all-nighters to make sure that there was ice to skate on. So it's a great location, great venue. It's awesome to drive by and see the lights on and everything. So.
And this is down at the new Riverfront development, for any of you who
Yeah.
aren't aware of it. Alder Groupie.
I had mentioned at the last meeting that the Public Safety Committee was going to be meeting tomorrow night, and that meeting was canceled. So just for everybody's reference, we will not be meeting tomorrow night. We'll meet again in January.
Alder Moore.
Nothing to report.
Alder Thomas.
I have no report.
Alder Coor.
The carpet is done upstairs. If you haven't been upstairs to check it out, it is absolutely gorgeous. My kudos to the staff for the way they handled the logistics of having the library open downstairs, and the way they handled being able to serve patrons was amazing. So come check it out. Landmarks Commission met last Wednesday to discuss the San Damiano property and the potential raising of the building, and that decision was tabled till the January meeting. The commission is going to take a tour of the property in early January to kind of assess its condition.
Joan?
Mayor, I'm off for work all next week, getting the bills paid this week through the end of the month.
Okay. City Administrator Gatto?
Last week, Monday, the Community Development Authority met. They reviewed 2 applications for the Renew Monona loan program, one of which they tabled to their next meeting because they had a couple questions about the project, and the other one that they approved for some replacement of windows for more energy efficient windows. And they also initiated discussions with the developer of the Riverfront project for the final phase and what that could look like with a future application to be pending.
Okay. I guess I don't have any news other than to say happy holidays, and I hope everyone enjoys some family time and some downtime over the next few weeks. We do have a couple of appointments tonight. Christopher Coates, Jean Coates, and Karen Dorman, all as election inspectors, effective January 1st through December 31st of 2021. Is there a motion to approve those appointments?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. And thank you for coming to watch.